Now entering Nerdist.com.
Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of Today We Learn number 36.
Number 36.
You guys, we made it. To all the haters out there that said you'd never last 36 episodes, well, look at me now, Mom. No, she's been very supportive, Mom. I know you're listening. Hello, thank you, and thank you all for listening.
Yeah, thanks.
I am happy to be back this week. Unfortunately, as you know from last episode, I could not join Razzle in the wonderful Duncan Birmingham.
Nope. Dan was missing in action.
Yeah, I was at Coachella and WonderCon for work, not for fun. I had a good time, but it was work. It was hard work. I was making license plates and mining salt. Actually, Coachella, there was a terrible dust storm on the Saturday I was there, so people were like wearing like steampunk goggles and bandanas around their face. It was kind of like the Mad Max version of Spring Break.
Oh, that's horrible that you got sent to cover Coachella for your job and you had to deal with some dust.
Dust storms at 20 miles an hour getting in your face. You know what, Razzle? You stand outside in 20-mile-an-hour winds.
Did you hear that? I'm going to have Aristotle dub in some violin sounds. And some violins playing MGMT and Outkast.
Outkast, actually, you may have seen on the on Twitter, like the first weekend, like the Andre 3000 was not into it. He like apologized on stage for their performance.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't see
that. But you know who's not going to apologize for performance? Us on today's podcast, because we have a fantastic guest for you today.
Yeah, it was fun.
If you read bloodydisgusting.com, that is bloody-disgusting.com. Great horror site. He is the editor of the film section for the site. Yes, Evan Dickson. He's also musician, screenwriter, multi-talented guy. Really cool, very knowledgeable. We're very glad to get him on the podcast today.
Yeah.
I think you're gonna like what we talk about.
Cover a lot of cool things, a lot of cool
some
bits
thrills,
and
some chills, some spooks, and something that rhymes with spooks. I'll leave that one up to Ukes.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yes.
So here we go.
Without further ado, as they say in France,
today we learned number 36 with Evan Dickson.
Today we learned. Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds.
So welcome back to another episode of Today We Learn.
Welcome back, everyone.
I think this is number 36.
You are right. That is the right number.
As usual, my name is Razzle.
And I'm Dan.
And with us is the very talented Evan Dickson.
Hi, how's it going?
You know him. He's one of the co-editors of the awesome horror website bloodydisgusting.com.
Yep.
It's for all your horror movie trivia.
Spooks, thrills, and chills.
And killer bees.
Yeah.
So, Evan, as our listeners know, and as you know because we told you prior to this, we like to start off every episode with the guest providing either a fun fact about themselves or something they happen to learn recently, or both, or any sort of that type of a...
Well, I have two. I have one of each.
Perfect.
It's weird, like with all the 20th anniversary of Kurt Cobain dying and the 20th anniversary of the whole Live Through This album coming out, I've been talking more about this, and people have been sort of surprised. But I used to, right when I first moved out here, right after college, I worked for Courtney Love for about 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
And,
man.
Yeah.
Long tenure there.
Yeah. It's sort of like Scott Rudin. If you make 3 months, then you have a desk somewhere else. But surprisingly, it wasn't an awful experience. I just don't. I don't think her organization was in a good place. I don't think the people around her were in a good place. So I wound up never getting paid.
Oh.
And.
Yikes.
And then, so that happened, and then 9/11 happened, and then I moved back to Texas for a few years, and came back.
2 weeks with Courtney Love. That sounds like a autobiography right there.
It was interesting.
Chapters.
I did a lot of everything. She was nice, and I still like her music and stuff. But I incurred so many expenses because I had to look after this backup singer that they had flown down for her solo shows. And this girl stayed with me for like 2 weeks, and I fed her and like did all the stuff and drove her around, and then I would drive, girlfriends of like her band I drove one of them to like a solo show in Ventura County, and then someone broke up with her and had to drive her back and stuff like that. And so it was I was never lied to by her. I think I was lied to about the people around her.
Yeah. So they left you in the hole?
Oh yeah, I think I'm like I think it's $1,500 in the hole and $2001.
Wow.
So
So Courtney Love, we know you're listening right now. Pay up.
Now so this backup singer that stayed with you, was she hot or was she drugged out, or she one of the drugged out Courtney Love crazies?
No, not when she landed.
Not off the plane.
This poor girl was like 18 years old. Had sent a demo tape to Courtney through their message board, and apparently, Courtney did hear it, and then called this girl. This girl lived in Seattle. Called her at like 4 a.m. and was like, "Your plane leaves at 6 a.m."
Wow.
The girl gets here, and is terrified. She never met like a celebrity, much less like her idol, right?
Yeah.
And so Courtney at that time would rehearse in the Valley. In one of those rehearsal spaces, kind of off, I think not Moore Park, but anyway.
Yeah.
This girl was, at midnight, this girl was super, super nervous. And I think someone, it may have been Courtney, I don't know, someone gave her a mug of tequila.
Uh-oh.
And the girl was on...
Not something that should be served out of a mug, by the way.
Yeah, the girl was on Paxil and had never had a drink before, and and then I took her home.
Yeah, 18-year-old.
Yeah, and then and I think the girl actually just kind of medicated. I think hopefully she's doing okay now.
Yeah.
We did. There was a show at the Hollywood Bowl, and the girl was made to wear like a giant hoop skirt and stand on this kind of riser near the drummer Patty Schimmel, and then Courtney would kind of like correct her like in between songs, like you're flat or you're sharp or whatever, like through the mic and like in front of 10,000 people.
Wow.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Just like that, huh?
And then the girl, so afterwards we were leaving, and Jared Leto was there with Cameron Diaz, and the girl wanted an autograph of Jared Leto or a picture, and something happened and the camera wasn't working, and he just kind of totally spurned her and walked off. And so
Yikes.
This girl was in tears, and she had a boyfriend, and she flew back to Seattle like the next day, and and then the boyfriend was like talking about taking legal action or something for the trauma. But I don't know if it ever came to pass.
That's a good reason, because our next guest is
I don't want to throw her under the bus.
Jared Leto.
Him maybe. Yeah. I'm not afraid of Jared Leto.
Yeah.
I am afraid that 30 Seconds to Mars will go back on tour.
Yeah, there you go. And the thing I learned recently, actually, I don't know how I went through college and did all this stuff and have written stuff for so long without actually knowing what the Bader-Meinhof kind of complex
Oh,
is.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I always forget what that name is.
Yeah.
That's an interesting. I think we covered that on one of the early.
Yeah, we
episodes
did.
of Bader
We did
Meinhof.
discuss it a couple episodes ago.
Yeah.
It's not just a movie. It's complex.
Yeah.
So you learned about that then? That's what you recently learned?
Yeah, and it was sort of taking effect. I had a sort of, I guess, a negative experience a few months ago, and it was weird. Someone was like, "You're going to start seeing it everywhere, like Bader-Meinhof comes." I was like, "Oh, because I've heard the term. That's what Bader-Meinhof means."
Yeah.
And then literally, I did start seeing it in every single thing I saw. Usually, movies I was made to review.
And
so.
what is it that you continue to see?
It's probably too negative to get into here.
Oh, my curiosity far outweighs the negativity of this podcast. Listen, too negative. I got call out today on Twitter from a girl who listens to the podcast for notoriously confusing Scene versus Saw.
Oh, okay.
So it's, and I'm like, it's 2014. They're interchangeable. They're still past tense of witnessing the action.
Language is an evolving construct that is slowly being torn apart by podcast hosts.
I'll tell you
for listening, though.
I'll tell you guys after, and then if you want, we can record 5 more minutes on it.
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect.
Absolutely. We'll have it as a post. If you're curious, if you're very curious, listen to the last.
This is your Choose Your Own Adventure segment.
Yeah.
If you'd like to know what happens, flip to minute 55.
Yeah, minute 55 will feature a cameo from Samuel
Unfortunately,
Jackson.
you died. Torn apart by Yetis. Those things always ended with just a weird non sequitur murder.
Yeah, it was always like.
Have you seen Shriek of the Mutilated? Speaking of horror,
No, I have
That's
not.
a great Yeti movie.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Is it?
Yeah.
Shriek of
I
the...
can't imagine that there are too many Yeti movies, so...
it's not a good movie at all. But
Okay, but in the Yeti subgenre, It rises to the top.
Can we talk about it for a second?
Absolutely.
Of course,
Yeah,
of course.
yeah.
So I saw it on Netflix for the first time a few years ago, and it's super, super low budget. I think it was definitely shot in like the early 70s. And it's pretty slack with structure. It involves these college students, and there's this professor that every year leads an expedition for go find the Yeti.
Yeah.
And every year, most of the college students die, But,
Oh, really?
yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah,
So
no one's left to give
he
him a
doesn't
negative
lose
rating
his
on.
job.
Rate
There's
My
one
Professor.
guy. There's one guy left from an earlier expedition.
you signed the disclosure.
Who is now like a total alcoholic, and everyone's at this party before they go off to find the Yeti, drinking and maybe smoking a little bit of weed or something. Mm-hmm. And this guy who is still recovering from the Yeti attack is really hammered, and he is kicked out of the party and sent home, where he starts to drink vodka straight out of the bottle. His wife comes in, sees that he's drinking this bottle straight out of the vodka out of the bottle, takes the bottle and pours it down the drain. He takes a knife and cuts his wife's throat.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then goes to take a bath and is in the bath drinking beer and listening to the, actually he's not listening to the radio. Oh, he is. Yeah, he is. It's in the bathroom. The wife is still alive after having her throat cut, and she crawls in on her hands and hands and knees, and
Knocks
manages to, while clutching her throat and bleeding to death, grab the radio the guy's listening to and throw it in the bathtub with him.
Oh my god.
Such an old way to kill people in movies.
The nearly dead wife throwing a toaster in the tub.
Yeah, it's after that, once it gets to the Yeti stuff, the movie gets more boring. But that's it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's a good
So
sequence.
the Yeti stuff's not boring. So did the professor? Was he involved in the Yeti at all? Because if he continued to survive, was he?
I think it's just his drive is to just keep finding the scene. He keeps luring them to their death. It's been a few
he
years.
wants the kids to die.
I just
No, he just wants to find the Yeti, but collateral damage is.
yeah. I just pulled up the wiki page for Shriek of the Mutilated.
Oh, there we go.
And this sentence is just incredible. Tom sneaks off to go hunting and is killed by the Yeti, a shaggy creature whose loud heartbeat is clearly audible and whose call resembles the repeated words, "Iggly oogly R."
That sounds about right. They cut to a negative exposure whenever the Yeti attacks, so it's just black and white.
Oh, so they can fudge it a little bit. We didn't have great makeup on this, let's dial that up.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's
nice.
cool. Well, while we're talking about horror trivia here, I got a few horror trip facts of sorts.
Yeah, you may know some of these. You probably have better ones.
Yeah, I was on the Wikipedia page for horror trivia.
The psycho fact.
So we'll get right to the psycho fact first. Psycho, the famous movie.
Seminal piece of cinema, regardless of horror, but
Yeah, was the first movie to show a toilet flushing.
It is true. Yeah.
Yep.
that really changed the game.
Here's another fun fact about while we're talking about movies and filming here. A lot of movies are filmed out of sequence. They're filmed, based on easiness of location and cast and crew and all that sort. So a lot of movies you see, for those of you not familiar with the business, a lot of movies, when you watch a movie, it's the ending could have been the very first thing they filmed on day one. The middle could have been filmed at the very end. The movies are filmed out of sequence and out of order.
Yeah.
However, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre was filmed in chronological order.
That makes sense. I hadn't actually heard that, or maybe I did on a DVD extra or something, but just the way they did it and how cheap it was, and just sort of a renegade operation, just 16
I mean, if you can get away with it, you may as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, everything's so cheap on there anyway. It's not like they're having to pay for actors or rapping actors at certain times. Or
You get copy and credit and half a bag of sun chips.
And then as far as supernatural and horror genres and stuff of movies, the first depictions of supernatural events appear in several of the silent shorts created by the film pioneer Jorge Méliès. I'm assuming Georges Méliès. Daniel could probably pronounce that better than I can.
French is not my strong suit.
Alrighty. In the late 18...
I'm too much of a Philistine to correct anybody.
In the late 1890s, which is sometimes the film Le Manoir du Diable, which is sometimes credited as being the first horror film. Now, in 1910, Edison Studios produced the very first film version of Frankenstein, which was thought to be lost for many years, but apparently it's been found recently. And then also, German expressionist filmmakers during the Weimar Republic era and slightly earlier would significantly influence later films, not only those in the horror genre. Paul Wegener's The Golem, 1920, and Robert Wayne's The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, also 1920, had a particular impact. Which included the first vampire-themed movie made during this time, F.W. Murnau's Nosferatu. Murnau's Nosferatu, which came out in 1922. Mm-hmm. It was obviously an unauthorized adaptation of Bram Stoker's Dracula.
And it's a very good film, and it got very bad reviews when it was first released.
Oh, really?
Interesting.
Yeah. I know it's a world-renowned horror film now.
The critics got caught up on the special effects. They thought it looked too fake.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's a bummer when you get caught up on fakeness.
At least the New York Times did. I think the stuff looks great.
Yeah.
Now you guys may know this. Here's another piece of horror trivia. And you've seen Poltergeist, the original Poltergeist. Mm-hmm. You know the scene where Joe Beth Williams is in the pool, like when the shit's going down at the end. Can we cuss on the show?
Yeah.
At the end of,
Fuck, piss.
okay, there you go. At the end of Act 3, those are real skeletons.
Just don't say holy
in the pool
smokes.
with her.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Real skeletons.
Yeah, they put skeletons in the pool with her.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
I mean, skeleton, did they get them from like a med school or?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, they were cleaned, but I think most of those are real.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Another. This one's a bit better known. The mask in Halloween, Michael Myers' face, is a mask of William Shatner, and that's because the production crew went to the store to buy the cheapest Halloween mask they could find, which happened to be Shatner. They spray painted it white though.
Yeah.
Was it the cheapest? Goddamn. William Shatner should be the most expensive mask.
Listen, he didn't have that Priceline prestige.
Yeah, this was in one of the waning years. You know, there's waning and waxing.
Yeah,
Shatner.
the phases of Shatner.
Yeah.
It was the pre-whale Star Trek 4 mask.
That's true. That's when his stock went up with me. That was the first one I could watch.
That's got to be. I mean, Wrath of Khan was great, but Star 4 has to be one of my favorites just because it's so funny. It's such a funny movie.
Yeah, my wife is so into whales. Like, she has like a whale song CD she plays to relax herself on the way to work, and you know, I don't blame her. But but like, she was so excited when we were going through Netflix one morning. I was like, "Oh, you want to watch Star Trek 4?" She's like, "No." I'm like, "It's about whales." And she's like, "No, it's not." I'm like, "Yeah,
yes."
It's all about
you tell people it's about whales, and they don't think it is.
Has she seen Blackfish?
Yeah, well, I was out of town recently. I was at South by Southwest, and she started watching Blackfish, and she was giving me sort of by text, sort of a blow by blow of her stages of.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Yeah, she stopped. I don't know how far she got into it. I think she stopped about half. She's a very sweet person and very empathetic, and she knows there's badness out there, and she doesn't want to.
For those of you listening that don't know what Blackfish is, it's a documentary that came out last year about SeaWorld's mistreatment of everything.
Yeah. I watched it in a hotel room at like 3 a.m, and I could not have made a poorer life choice at that exact moment.
It's such a
it's a worthwhile film, and you know, definitely brings up some
really great
horrifying
it's a great doc. But
stuff,
it's
but
a real, it's a bummer.
not bedtime material.
No, you'll cry.
Yeah. It's a real bummer. While we're talking about animals here, I guess mammals, the giant mammals of whale that whales are. Another giant mammal would be I would consider the horse to be a giant mammal. It's a pretty decently sized mammal as far as mammals go. I'll roll with you on this. On the scale of mammals.
Yeah.
So, anyways.
A horse isn't actually a mammal.
It isn't?
No, I'm kidding.
They lay eggs.
Hold on here.
They lay eggs.
My life has been a lie.
Yeah.
The first Saturday, this is coming out on April 28th, I believe. The Monday the 20th, I think. So, yeah, today's the 21st.
So I have plenty of time to get my legal defense.
Exactly.
And I was doing some research as far as the upcoming May or whatever. Then I realized I'm a huge fan of this, but I didn't know that this was the thing. Long story. Okay. Anyways, the first.
What's happening in the beginning of May, Razzle?
Yeah.
Why'd you tell us?
Here's the thing. I'm a huge fan of horse racing.
Mm-hmm.
No, I shouldn't say I'm a huge fan of horse racing. I'm a huge fan of the Triple Crown.
He meant he's a huge fan of horse fighting.
I'm a huge fan of horse fighting with lasers and sabers.
Yeah, horse on horse violence.
I like the Kentucky Derby. I get excited for it every year. I like the idea of the fact that there hasn't been a Triple Crown in a long time.
Do you like the band Pavement?
Crown winner.
They sing a lot. Well, they don't sing a lot about it, but they're into the Kentucky Derby.
I like I like the history of it. I like the everybody gets dolled up.
An occasion to wear seersucker. What more do you need?
Absolutely. But I didn't realize this. I found myself Googling when's the Kentucky Derby because I knew it's coming up. And I didn't know that it's actually got a set day every year. And it's the first Saturday in May is the date that the annual Kentucky Derby is ran. It's the most famous horse race in the United States. So the Kentucky Derby is May 3rd. It's going to be the first Saturday.
Fun fact about May 3rd, that is also Free Comic Book Day.
Ooh.
So if you're like myself, you should take that opportunity to head down to your local comic book store and revel in the free offerings you may get.
Get a free comic book as long as it's not during the 2 minutes of the Kentucky Derby.
Yes, exactly. Schedule it out.
Schedule out that it's the most exciting 2 minutes in sports, as it's known as.
Yeah, it's only it's a 1 1/4 mile race.
Yeah, 10 furlongs, I believe.
See, I did not know the Kentucky Derby was only 2 minutes.
Yeah,
I just thought they rode those horses into the ground.
Yeah,
I thought Michael Mann was in charge of it.
Yeah, slowly their legs get shorter and shorter until they have to get a new one. Yeah, it's like, can we get some fresh legs over here? We just got a horso.
Some fun facts about the Kentucky Derby.
That's good.
It's a Grade 1 stakes race for 3-year-old thoroughbreds held annually in Louisville, Kentucky, United States on the first Saturday in May, capping the 2-week-long Kentucky Derby Festival. The race is 1 1/4 miles, also known as 10 furlongs. It's in Churchill Downs. Unlike the Preakness and Belmont Stakes, which are also part of the Triple Crown series of races, which they took hiatuses in 1891 through 1893 and 1911 to 1912, the Kentucky Derby has been run every year since 1875. In order to win the Triple Crown, the horse needs to win all 3 of those races. Now, Derby participants are limited to 3-year-old horses. No horse since Apollo in 1882 has won the Derby without having raced at age 2.
Interesting.
So all of the winners,
they've been like upperclassmen horses.
Yeah.
Wow. So 139 consecutive years of horse racing.
Now, and one of the popular drinks, some
mint julep.
Yeah, everybody,
delicious.
Everybody
guys.
knows about the mint julep if you watch Mad Men or any of that,
or if you just like cocktails.
It's hot here today too.
Yeah. Today would be a great day to just sit on a porch and
sip a mint julep.
I don't know about. We're talking about April 21st, by the way, not April 28th, guys.
Yes.
It may be cool that
day.
Yeah. On April 21st, it was hot.
It was hot back in the day. A mint julep, for those of you that don't know, is an iced drink. I didn't know what it was made of. I'll be honest. I didn't know how to make it.
I could have told you.
I didn't. Yeah, you could have. A mint julep, an iced drink consisting of bourbon, mint, and sugar syrup.
Simple syrup is probably an easier term.
See, I could have sworn it was gin in the mint julep. I'm sure this is correct, but I just by virtue of it being clear.
Yeah, traditionally
bourbon.
it's bourbon. You might be thinking of.
No, I'm just dumb. I don't know.
No. You might be thinking of a Tom Collins, which is another very popular like Derby time drink. That's sort of like classic cocktail category.
Okay. What did like Hemingway drink?
Hemingway drank daiquiris.
Okay, daiquiris. Okay.
The Hemingway daiquiri. Nowadays, you say daiquiri, people think of like fruity bullshit that you get at like Tommy Bahama. You wouldn't get it there. Like a Margaritaville type establishment. But traditionally, that was just like rum, sugar, and some lime.
Okay.
And if you get a classic one made, they're so good, so good.
I'll check it
Now,
out.
So yes, the mint julep is made out of bourbon, mint, and sugar and syrup. And the mint julep has been promoted by Churchill Downs for the Kentucky Derby since 1938. Each year, almost 120,000 juleps are served at the race.
Wow.
Now, you mentioned Tom Collins. And
I sure did.
That's interesting because I have here compiled some facts about the Tom Collins. Now,
What?
Here's the thing. I grew up, quick little bit story why. I know Tom Collins.
Great guy.
I don't know Tom Collins, and that'll be one of the facts I mentioned about why I don't know Tom Collins. But I come from I'm part Polish. I come from a small town called Bay City, Michigan. And I remember... there was a lot of, I had a lot of older aunts and uncles, like my dad's aunts and uncles, and one of them was my Uncle Jim, and he had a bar in his basement, and so did my Aunt Jerry as well, not my Aunt Joe as well, so 2 of my dad's uncles both had wet bars in their basement, full bars. It was popular back in the day, I guess. And for some reason, I don't know if they made this a lot, or if it was just one of the, a drink that, when I was, 4 or 5 years old, a lot of the older people drank a lot or just talked about, but one of the drinks was the Tom Collins. So like you got the Tom Collins and you got the Grasshopper, and you have all those old drinks. I don't think are even popular anymore, but they're ones that are ingrained in my brain from my childhood. So I was like, oh, what the fuck is a Tom Collins? So I was looking up a Tom Collins, and the Tom Collins is a Collins cocktail made from gin, lemon juice, sugar, and carbonated water. Now, it was first memorialized in writing in 1876 by the father of American mixology, Jerry Thomas. This gin and sparkling lemonade drink typically served in a Collins glass over ice. I didn't also know there was a glass.
In a Collins glass, it's the tall, narrow glass, similar to a highball, but a little bit thinner.
Okay. So
Which I think in like Meet the Parents they use those, right? 'Cause they run out of Collins mix. Or whatever.
Okay. Yeah. So the Collins glasses are like they're not the tapered like pint glasses. They're like they're the same size as a pint glass, but they're just skinny. They're like just like a straight. They're just up and down, right?
Yeah.
Like what's it?
Yeah, they're vertical.
Well, imagine
they're like it's a long horizontal base.
they're like the circumference is much thinner.
Yeah,
it's like an inch and a half
circumference
across.
Is the word I'm looking for. Yes.
Yep.
Is there now, Dan? You have it pulled up here. Does it say what the typical ounces?
10 to 14 fluid ounces.
Okay, for Collins glass.
I call BS on that, or bullshit. I call on that.
I think that depends on how much.
One of those,
whether or not you got rocks in there.
Yeah, I mean, like even the water. Those are the most frustrating things to even get water in because you think you've got a lot of water in there.
Yeah, they are misleading. Their height, don't believe it. It's a lie.
In a little bit origin of the nobody knows exactly why they were called the Tom Collins, but in 1874 there was it started off as
the
a
great
hoax.
Tom Collins hoax
Yeah, it
of
started-
1874.
Dan, I'll let you feel this one if you want. It's
thank
a
you.
Really cool, interesting hoax idea.
Yeah, well, it was basically viral marketing, essentially. In 1874, generally in like the New York and Pennsylvania area, people would start a conversation, typically on the radio or something like that, with, "Have you seen Tom Collins?" And after the listener would react like, "Oh, no, I haven't seen Tom Collins," they would say, "Oh, he's right around the corner," meaning he's right at your local bar. So it's kind of like Got Milk, but a little more,
And
a little more interactive.
A lot of it started too is like if you.
That sounds just like advertising, though.
It is, yeah.
So back then they
but
called it a hoax.
Yeah, well,
right?
people.
Well, the hoax came into play where, like, say me and Dan were at a bar and you joined us for a drink and we wanted to rile your feathers, as they said back in the day. We'd be like, "Hey, dude, have you seen Tom Collins?" And you'd be like, "No," and we'd be like, "Well, he was talking some shit about you, and he was saying how and then we'd come up with some rumor that Tom was just talking the most vile shit about you.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, "Well, where the fuck is Tom Collins?" And we'd be like, "Oh, he's right around the corner at
Got
the
it.
bar on 5th Street." So then you would leave and you would go to the 5th Street bar or whatever, trying to find
And
Tom
you'd
Collins.
ask for Tom
He was-
Collins.
You'd ask for
Yeah.
Tom Collins, and nobody would know where Tom Collins was.
They would
or who
just
Tom
give you a
Collins
drink.
was. They would give-
He was essentially like the shit-stirring Bill Brasky equivalent.
Okay, I like
of
this.
1874.
I think that
Yeah.
we should do more stuff.
That's a funny.
Yeah.
Just start telling your friends when they show. If your friends show up late, tell them Tom Collins was just there talking shit.
Oh, I mean, people do it on our message boards. Like, I came across this amazing trailer for
Yeah.
this movie. It's so amazing. And then, like, you look, and it's like the username on YouTube is the same username as the guy posting the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I'll tell you what movie looks good. That the trailer was it what was it? Now I'm fading to blank.
All you need is
No.
Edge of Tomorrow.
No, that one's a real movie that is awesome. I'm
The
not supposed to
Rover?
talk about how good I seen it. It was with it was originally a fake trailer, but then they kickstarted it to raise money. It was like an 80s very throwback. It was Karate Cop or something like that.
oh, really?
God damn it.
There was something. Hobo
Was
with a
it what-
shotgun was on the
Yeah,
Grindhouse.
Hobo,
They made
Hobo with
that.
the shotgun appeared
it's
in
not
front of
Wolf Cop,
Grindhouse,
it's,
as did Machete.
There's like a Thor. Oh goddamn! I'm eating my words here because I can't. think of
Karate
it.
Cop was a 1991 direct-to-video martial
Karate
arts
Cop.
action film. It is the sequel to the film Omega Cop.
Time Cop, not Time
They went
Cop.
backwards.
Yeah.
Karate.
After karate, you should do
Oh
them.
no, I
Yeah.
know what it is. Kung Fury. Have you seen the
okay.
trailer for Kung
No,
Fury?
no.
Goddamn,
Yeah,
look up
yeah.
the trailer for Kung Fury. It's so dumb and amazing.
Oh, we're not going to watch a YouTube video right
No,
now.
we're not gonna watch it right now. We're not gonna watch it right
It's
now.
exactly
I'm
what podcast listeners want.
I'm
is
telling
us
the audience.
watching videos.
I'm telling the audience to listen to Kung Fury. I feel like I've
Yeah,
mentioned
I
it
think
before.
you have mentioned this before.
Because it's awesome.
Yeah,
But
They were trying to raise $200,000. They wound up raising $630,000.
But
A Swedish group called Laser Unicorns.
That's how they got it.
the best
Yeah,
unicorn.
exactly.
Yeah.
But anyways, it should be noted that a drink called a John Collins existed prior to the Tom Collins hoax of 1874. A recipe for the John Collins appears in the Steward and Barkeeper's Manual of 1869.
The John Collins calls for a teaspoonful of powdered sugar, the juice of half a lemon, a wine glass of Old Tom gin, a bottle of plain soda. Then you shake up or stir up with ice, add a slice of lemon peel to finish.
Yeah, so there's some alcoholic trivia for you.
Yeah, so if you were wondering what to drink while listening to this podcast...
especially if it's the morning.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if you're in your car, it's the morning, and you're also on a treadmill because you have a weird Flintstones car.
And then also, May 1st, while we're back onto the May trivia here, May 1st is Lei Day in Hawaii.
Heyo.
Heyo, and the custom is to wear lei throughout the day.
Isn't that every day in Hawaii?
I feel like it.
Because I have not seen any indication that it isn't.
Especially if you get off a plane.
Yeah.
It's May 1st.
You get off a plane. Yeah, we had our honeymoon in Hawaii this summer, and we were trapped in one of those resorts where it was a nice resort, but the food was atrocious. So we wound up having to take the trolley in the town, and we were on the big island, and we basically found an American gastropub.
That's amazing.
And just ate there for 4 or 5 days.
That's funny.
So I just threw Hawaii under the bus for no reason. But
Throw it under the bus even more.
Yeah, sorry.
It's all right. We don't need that monarchy.
I've never been to Hawaii. Dan, have you been to Hawaii?
I have been to Hawaii.
I feel like you were just in Hawaii like a month ago or 2 months ago, right?
It feels that way, but it was actually back in 2006. Yeah, I was in Japan, which has, I will say, Hawaii has a large Japanese population and Japanese immigrant population.
Okay.
It's one of those convenient vacation destinations because it's very close to both Japan and the United States.
Yeah.
Okay.
So as a result, they have a big tourism industry from both the U.S. and Japan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Another fun fact about early May.
Yes.
May 4th, Star Wars Day.
Star Wars Day.
May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th, for those of you with lisps,
yes.
We've turned it into a holiday.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Your day has come at last, and this is not a trap.
May the 4th, that's a day, that's a Sunday this year.
Yeah, Sunday.
I know that because my sister's getting married on May the 3rd.
I knew that because we just talked about the first Saturday in May being May 3rd.
Yeah.
That's just one of the things I learned today.
Yeah. So things you learn. I'm going to miss my sister's wedding so I can watch the Kentucky Derby, I'll tell you right now.
There you go.
I'm going to stand on the altar streaming it on my iPhone if I have to. Because God damn it, if it's going to get spoiled.
You're me on the altar?
I'm standing up in it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping that this is accurate. I'm reading about the quote-unquote origin of Star Wars Day.
Okay.
Its creation was evidently an accident, because in 2005, a German television network, N24, an interview erroneously translated the iconic Star Wars quote of "May the Force be with you." In German, "May the Force be with you" was wrongly interpreted as "We are with you on May 4th."
Wow. Well, okay, here's some trivia. The Phantom Menace,
Yes.
at this point in relation to its release date, same thing as, like, we got this new one coming out, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, the Phantom Menace had already been shot
Okay.
and was already, like, heavy in post. They're still writing this one.
Yeah. See.
Yeah.
See, that's really common nowadays too. Like I feel like, I mean, that came out in 96, right? 96 or 97?
99.
99. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so
Yeah.
96 was when they just finished.
They did the
was
reissues.
Jedi, I think, in 96, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, they
They did the
finished that.
reissues and they did the special editions.
I'm remembering like the big, it was like the black and gold VHS
Yes.
box set.
Yeah. Those were 96.
I
Yeah,
feel like
the remastered.
15 years ago, in order for a movie to get a release date, I feel like more often than not, they had it shot, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they were shot and they were editing it, and then they figured out the release date because you also had to print all the film and all that. But now, and I could be wrong. I mean, I wasn't familiar with the industry 15 to 20 years ago, but it is interesting how they have a release date. They pick release dates now when they don't even
Way
have
before,
like
yeah.
casts or
Yeah, like-
post-production
Yeah,
done or anything.
I think you're right. It does have a lot more to do with, or back then it had a lot more to do, like, oh, this is a reasonable time to put
Yeah,
out this movie versus,
Yeah.
we better pick
Now,
something.
done
now we're
now.
hearing about like Captain America 3 going toe to toe with Batman
Yeah,
versus
and
Superman
neither of them-
3 years from now.
Neither of them
Yeah.
are even finished. And Batman was supposed to come out last year or next year.
None of them have
Super
started.
Bowl,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Batman and
Well, I
Superman
mean,
was
even
supposed to come out
even
next year.
episode 7 was originally set to come out earlier in
Yeah.
It was May. It was
2015.
going to be
Yeah.
May. It was going to be on the Star Wars Day.
But
maybe.
now
Yeah.
I personally think it's kind of brilliant move to push that to Christmas time because every family will be going to see that.
They'll be forced to see it.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Not that they.
Forced to see
Oh.
it.
I have no comment.
Luckily, we'll have another.
Sith hits the fan.
Luckily, we'll have a new another Star Wars Christmas, hopefully.
Yeah.
Star Wars. Christmas.
Oh God, the Star Wars Christmas. No, what you're gonna have is like everyone and their mother on the internet doing like Christmas special parody sketches.
These are not the toys you're looking for.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah.
These are. Now I'm trying to think. Of Star
At
Wars
the same
Christmas
time
puns.
as the sequel for Inside Llewyn Davis, they'll both be competing with each other.
Inside two in Davis.
There you go.
Inside Two Furious Davises.
Okay, so bear with me on this next segue.
Awesome.
Lightsaber, great weapon, fun toy for kids of all ages. Other fun toys are commemorated in the National Toy Hall of Fame.
Ooh.
That's a real thing. It exists. And evidently, the corrugated cardboard box, was officially inducted into the National Toy Hall of Fame back in 2005.
Oh, wow.
Also in its induction class, Candyland, the popular game, and your simple Jack in the Box, not the fast food chain, the wind-up box containing a horrifying clown snake.
Yeah.
What about the Charlie in the Box?
Charlie in the Box.
Nobody wants a Charlie in the Box.
I don't
No, you don't know about the Charlie in the Box?
Yeah.
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer,
Okay,
the
yeah.
Island of Misfit Toys?
Okay, there we go.
Come on.
Listen,
Charlie in
it's
the
been a
Box.
minute since I've seen those Rankin and
Nobody
Bass
wa-
specials.
All right, fair enough. Established in 1998.
Yes, there we go. Yeah, I lost my train of thought about this preposterous collection. Yes, the National Toy Hall of Fame.
Going back here for a second, you
Yeah.
have a stat on the World Trade Center. This is the new World Trade Center, right?
Yes.
On this, is it 1,776 feet on purpose?
Yeah, that's
Got it.
exactly.
766.
You know,
Got it.
Yeah.
whatever special symbolism that date holds.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know about
Yeah.
any revolutions.
Yeah. Well, and the revolution, the base jumping revolution.
Yes, exactly. Speaking of which, I don't know if you guys have seen this. Some guys snuck up onto the new World Trade Center site all the way to the top and base jumped.
No,
off
that's
of
what I was
it.
referring to.
Okay, yeah. That video.
That's not actually the base jumping revolution.
No.
back in the 1700s.
It will not be televised. It will not be
Did that just happen recently?
live streamed.
Yeah, they got it. Well, it happened like 6 months ago, and then they finally turned themselves in recently. I'm not sure. I guess the trail had gotten hot on them.
Yeah.
I don't know how that happened.
I guess they should have done like Steve Jones' official YouTube channel upload.
Yeah.
Speaking of base jumping, real quick, and then we'll get back to this toy
Go
thing.
on.
The Discovery Channel, they were going to do a base jump from
Off
Mount
of
Everest,
Everest.
but they canceled that, and they were
yeah.
investing tons of money into this.
Yeah, well, there was
promotion
a
and all
really
that.
tragic avalanche
Yeah.
that happened recently.
Yeah.
They're shooting a film also entitled Everest there, and thankfully none of those people were injured because they had just reached the base camp. But unfortunately, I think 22 people or some horrific
I think it was
number.
13, but like it's the
Died
kind of
or
thing.
hurt or something.
Yeah.
I was actually pretty sad because well, when someone dies, it's sad.
I've
Always.
never
Yeah.
been there.
Well, I woke up in the morning. There was this report, people died on Everest, and part of me is sort of like, well, you did go to Everest, but these are the Sherpas. These
Yeah,
are the people
13
there,
Sherpas,
who
you're
have to
right.
that's how they kind of eke out and carve out their living.
Yeah.
and apparently there was some dispute earlier about them not being treated particularly well. So that to me is tragic. Whereas,
Yeah.
like if some expedition went up there, you're consciously rolling the dice.
Exactly.
But yeah.
But yes, so back to this toy thing. Not the cardboard
back to this
box.
toy bullshit. Sorry.
Not to be confused with the Breakdancing Hall of Fame. The cardboard box was inducted into the Toy Hall
Yeah.
of Fame. It was established in 1998 by a gentleman by the name of Ed Sobey at A.C. Gilbert's Discovery Village in Salem, Oregon. The collection was moved to the Strong National Museum of Play, now the Strong, in Rochester, New York in 2002.
Because they ran out of space. They had
Yeah.
too many toys, which is something that I'm sure we can all relate to.
Yeah.
And the criterion for induction is pretty good. It's based on its icon status, like how recognizable is it, its longevity, how long has this toy been in the public eye.
Okay.
So you're probably not going to see snap bracelets there anytime soon.
Okay.
Or, who knows, maybe Bop It will work its way in eventually.
Pop it, pluck it, hit it, tap it.
Yeah, Discovery, if it, when it was invented and all that fun stuff. And innovation, did it change the game? The
So, like,
Super Soaker.
50
should be in
years
there.
we'll see the fleshlight.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
In the Sex Toy Hall of Fame.
I mean, those are considered toys, right?
In the same way that a vibrator is considered a personal massager. Yes.
Well, here on the innovation thing, you mentioned the cardboard box. So is that the innovation that other people have used?
I think it's what they've managed to elevate the source material and find a new use for.
The innovation is encouraged among people who have only a
personally,
cardboard
I
box.
think it's solely because of Calvin and Hobbes.
I don't even know.
Yeah, it's a transmogrifier. it's a cloning device.
It's the best comic of all time.
It's a spaceship.
What was I? I was into the competing one.
Foxtrot.
Bloom County.
Oh, Bloom County was fantastic.
I didn't get Bloom County
with the
Michigan.
penguin. It was good stuff.
That was Otis, wasn't it?
Opus.
Yeah.
I didn't get that in Michigan either. Foxtrot was always a good one.
Foxtrot was fun. I think Foxtrot's still running.
Back to tall, giant fucking buildings here. No worries.
Some fucking skyscrapers.
Some fucking skyscrapers here. I was reading, and this is interesting, there are only, like, you think of skyscrapers and you think, oh gosh, how fucking tall are they or whatever, but really they're not. I mean, there's not a lot of giant, when it comes to seeing a skyscraper, my depth perception wanes severely. Like, I never know. I'm a horrible judge of how tall a building is.
I could jump that. Single bound.
I could jump
no
that with
problem.
a ramp. There are only 80 buildings in the world that are taller than 1,000 feet. 1,000 feet, like, really is only 3 football fields. If you think about it.
That's actually very surprising.
Yeah, but if you think about stacking 3 football fields vertically, that's getting pretty tall.
Yeah. And the top 4 are the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. That's 2,717 feet. It was built in 2010.
Yeah.
Now, I'm wondering, I think that's the building that Tom Cruise was on the top of in Ghost Protocol.
I bet it was.
God damn, that was a good movie too, Ghost Protocol.
I like that quite a bit. I think that's my favorite Mission Impossible movie. That part.
Gotta be. I mean, aside from the first one, red light, green light. Ghost Protocol is really good.
Yeah.
I know that aquarium scene in the first one.
You've never seen me. I still quote the first one so often to this day, just because it left such an impression on me in high school.
Yeah.
It was a good movie.
I liked the first one. I kind of like the third one. I think if I went back and watched it again, I wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
But it worked that one time. And the second one, I don't like that much.
I just like any time that they like reach towards their neck and pull off a preposterous mask.
Yeah.
There was a great community gag on that.
Like
a week or two ago.
Oh yeah, I think Senior Chang just reached like, I'm not wearing a mask. just pulling his neck.
Number 2 on the list is the Shanghai Tower in China. It's 2,074 feet, and it was built in 2014. It's
great year.
It's going to be finished.
Great year.
It's going to be finished now. Number 3 is the Makkah Royal Clock Tower Hotel in Saudi Arabia, ranking in at 1,971 feet, and that was finished in 2012. Then we have the One World Trade Center in New York, in the United States, obviously, 1,776 feet. And that was finished in 2013. Now, here's something I also learned when I seen the Dubai. I always hear Dubai, and I hear Dubai, and I know it's a city, but I always just, I never really fucking know where it's at. I just know it's Dubai. It's a city of tomorrow.
Emirates.
Exactly. I didn't know that. So
Is that the same place as Abu Dhabi then?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay.
I don't know. Where's Abu Dhabi, Daniel?
Well, while you look that up, what is the recent fascination with building these tall-ass things? I mean, I mean, is it bragging rights? I mean, is there literally not that much real estate there that they really do need to go up 3,000
I think it's
feet?
a prestige thing.
Yeah.
It's you want a skyline. You want the tallest building in the world. Because, even in, years ago, you had the Sears Tower, and you had the Empire State Building, and you had the Chrysler Building, and you had, we have, believe it or not, actually our listeners will know we talk a lot about just the construction of buildings, just because there's so much history, in the building. So it's I guess cities have nothing better to do than build a giant, because in the end, where's all this other real estate that you need offices or whatever, but then there is, the prestige of my office building's in this.
Yeah, no.
Our company is located
I'm not
in this.
slamming it. I'm just wondering, like if it's, it has to be economically feasible or they wouldn't do it. But
It's weird. Yeah.
I wouldn't want to build one.
No. Or design one. Like, I don't even know.
I'll design one.
Like, how long?
Here you go.
Like, how?
Good luck.
How much time? How many years it takes? A year and a half, 2 years to build some of these, 3 years to build some of these things. How long does it take to get the blueprints finished and planned and plotted out? And I was listening to a good 99% Awesome podcast the other day about a building in New York that is levitated to an extent because they were trying to build it over a church or whatever.
Oh, interesting.
And they had to do secret reconstruction on it because the testing they did was only for wind against the side and not on a diagonal. So they had to do secret research on this building.
So it's like they played Jenga with this building.
They like
why they have senior architects.
During when everybody was out of the building at night, they would come in and just weld all of the redo things because it was already built and it literally could have destroyed blocks.
What's going on down there? Oh, it's probably rowdy teens.
Yeah.
Smoking their cigarettes and listening to their Justin Biebers.
Yeah.
But to clarify, Dubai and Abu Dhabi are separate cities. They're actually separate emirates.
Oh, so they're not both in UAE?
They are. They're
both in UAE.
They're United Arab Emirates.
Okay.
They're part of those. They're part of that union. Abu Dhabi is the capital and the second most populous city.
Okay.
And Dubai is the biggest city, the most populous, biggest population.
Okay.
So Abu
Dhabi, Dubai.
Okay.
Separate, yet similar.
And Dubai is the one that supposedly the city of the future that has all these.
Dubai is that. Anytime you hear generally about like a story of incredible excess, like they have like a roller coaster inside and it snows in there, and like outdoor air conditioning, that tends to be Dubai because it has such incredible wealth centered there.
They also have a lot of unfinished buildings, I think, right? Like, wasn't there? I thought I read somewhere like they also in Dubai they'll have like a coastline of islands.
Yeah, that are man-made.
To look like countries and like palm trees and all sorts of stuff. And I guess
it's sort of like a mixture between Detroit and the richest place in the world.
The one thing Detroit is missing: superfluous wealth.
in Palm Tree Islands.
Yeah. Someday. Someday.
Detroit.
If climate change would hurry up and get here already.
Well, in Detroit you can buy a house for $1,000.
Yeah.
So like you literally they have a deal there, and they have another
Someone
deal.
Will steal it from you 2 days later.
Yeah, they have another deal if you pay the taxes on the house, you can just get the house for free. If you
Really?
pay the back taxes on it. So
Really?
I think they should start an artist. My friend was saying this. They should start an artist colony there. And just,
it's going to be the new Silver Lake.
Yeah. I mean,
So are the back taxes more than $1,000?
Usually less, I think. Yeah, hopefully.
Wow.
Because I would just pay.
I would just pay the $1,000.
Unfortunately, you have to live with the 17 Juggalo squatters that are living in the living room. But if you can get past that, you get some free clown makeup.
You'll develop a taste for Faygo.
Yes, the Dark Carnival will become your Facebook status.
Faygo is people shit on Faygo so much, but Faygo's got some goddamn.
I'm sure the flavors are delicious. I think what aspect they're shitting on is it's specifically. Yeah, they can drink whatever they want. It's the getting sprayed with soda. Like, no one likes to be sticky. No one.
I was almost killed by a pack of Juggalos once.
No way. Is that okay?
Yeah. I was on tour. I used to tour manage this band called Dynamite Hack.
Dynamite Hack.
Yeah.
Goddamn.
And actually still manage them. Just over here and there, book their shows and stuff.
Goddamn, that song. They're
Boys in the Hood. Yeah.
Their cover. I mean, that was their main huge one.
Yeah.
That was synonymous with that was big when I was like 19, 20 in college and like spring break and all that. That was a very popular.
Yeah, and I was about the same age in college. I took the summer off to tour manage them, and because they were opening up for my band before that song came out.
What was your band name?
Oh, you don't even. I mean, we were called Hidden Speaker.
Okay.
I left the band and then became an instrumental band called the Octopus Project.
Wait. I booked Octopus Project back at Tufts back in the day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I played guitar in them for a while, too. Like, I joined them in 2007 when someone quit, and I did a tour with them to Taiwan and stuff like that.
No shit, man.
But, so anyway, these Juggalos, they'd been talking shit about Juggalos on tour.
Okay.
And we got back, on stage. And we got back to Austin in the bus and everything, and they were waiting for us, like at the rehearsal space, like after our tour. Yeah. And like the NWA people weren't particularly happy with us either.
Yeah.
The band was because they were getting paid.
Royalties.
But the fans, no. MC Ren, in fact, said that he wouldn't mind if something happened to us.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so...
How sweet of him.
Yeah.
There was that's interesting, too, because the Dynamite Hack, that the Boys in the Hood song was on a compilation album, Take a Bite Out of Rhyme.
Yes.
Which also featured Posses on Broadway, recorded by Insane Clown Posse.
That's true. Actually, I sued to have it removed from that a couple years ago. Yeah. Well, Universal, I don't know if I can even talk about this, but they lost the license to the music in 2006.
Okay.
And they kept selling it until like 2011.
Okay.
Yeah. But Take Out a Bite of Rhyme, that one.
That also had Tricky by the Tricky cover version by Bloodhound Gang by Run DMC. That was a good. They did a good cover of that. It was a good album, man. It was a good album of like punk band or just renditions of rap songs, older rap songs.
Actually, ICP covered Sir Mix-a-Lot's Posse on Broadway.
Yeah.
I said that 2 minutes ago.
Oh, did you? I just blacked back in. Sorry, I had a couple Tom Collinses, a couple John Collinses.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good album. There was what other bands are on there where we're looking at it?
Mindless Self-Indulgence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Seven Dust, Stained featuring Limp Bizkit.
That's a
Dynamite double bill.
Yeah, Limp Bizkit.
Oh, they were covering Public Enemy, which, fun fact about Chuck D, has gone on record saying he is a fan of ICP.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty sterling endorsement. I like me some Chuck D.
I like any. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Where this is a stretch, but we'll get to I used to live in Florida, and Florida has a lot of hurricanes. And I went to spring break in Florida, which is where I listened to this Take a Bite out of Rhyme quite a bit. This is a little fun fact. I've keep switching from podcast to podcast because we never get to it. It just we have so much fun talking about other facts. I never get to this fact, and this is just an interesting fact to me. And we always like to have food facts and stuff like that on occasion as well. But according to an article in the New York Times posted in 2004, prior to Hurricane Francis, the two highest selling items at Walmart during hurricanes are beer and Pop-Tarts. A week ahead of the storm's landfall, Linda M. Dillman, Walmart's chief information officer, pressed her staff to come up with the forecasts based on what had happened when Hurricane Charlie struck. The experts mined the data and found that the stores would indeed need certain products and not just the usual flashlights that you think of. We didn't know, this is a quote from the article, we didn't know in the past that strawberry Pop-Tarts increase in sales. Now we're not just talking, we're like this is strawberry Pop-Tarts. And this is the quote, we did not know in the past that strawberry Pop-Tarts would increase in sales like 7 times their normal sales rate ahead of a hurricane.
Wow.
That's the quote. So during hurricanes, strawberry
we're gonna
Pop-Tarts,
die, we're gonna be drunk and full of processed
if
sugar.
there's a giant hurricane coming, invest in strawberry Pop-Tarts.
That makes sense. I lived in Houston, so we had hurricanes as well, and we would throw hurricane parties.
Yep.
And those were a lot of fun until Hurricane Katrina hit, which obviously didn't hit Houston. But 3 weeks later, we got another hurricane, Hurricane Rita, which was bigger than Katrina. And looked to be headed right for Houston. Everyone evacuated Houston. Now, I was dragging my feet because my uncle throws killer hurricane parties, and he was having one. And then, my mom and my sister were like, "Well, you have to go with us," and we'll stay here and die. It was literally, I think you can look this up. I think it was the longest traffic jam in the history of the U.S. trying to evacuate Houston because it was so fresh from Katrina. And it literally took us 14 hours to go 60 miles.
God damn.
And I'm surprised we didn't turn back around and go home. Obviously, we evacuated. The hurricane was like, oh, okay, and then went right back and hit New Orleans right after that. There was no damage. So I guarantee you Houston will all die in the next hurricane because no one will ever leave again. Yeah.
So you missed out on a killer hurricane party.
Yeah, my uncle threw, he's great at parties in general, but hurricane parties, there's a special bond.
And how old are you now?
I am 36.
36. And how much older is your uncle? Because, I'm 32 and I have a 5 and a 4-year-old. I have 2 nephews. I don't recall their ages. My brother's going to kill me.
We'll fix that in post.
We'll fix that in post. But I feel like I'd be that, like, if I lived in the same city as them or whatever, I'm the young uncle who's single. I got, I'm not dumping money on children or anything like that. Not that it's a negative.
Money on children. Poor investment.
Not that,
I got loose changes poured all over these kids.
Don't put all your money in children.
Having a child that costs on average $5,000 per child. No, I'm not.
5,000? That's not bad.
A month or a year, right?
Okay.
Like a year, yeah.
Lifetime cost 5 G's.
But anyways, and when I was young, I remember having the fun uncles as well that didn't have kids yet or anything like that.
Oh, he has kids. He's like 60, something like that.
So he has kids. He just knows how to party.
He just knows how to party. Every quarter, he goes to Vegas and takes everyone. And at one point, we went. He had a maid and. She got to a certain age, and she would mainly tell the other maid what to do, I guess. She was 90, so we surprised her for her 90th birthday and took her to Vegas, which I thought would kill her, but
yeah.
No.
Only made her stronger.
Yeah, she was up till 4 a.m.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
cool.
That
sounds like a reach story. I personally don't have any money, so.
Yeah, no.
It's all good, man.
I don't.
Just 90-year-old Vegas parties.
None of us.
We're all familiar.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, I think we are approaching our time limit.
Yep.
Evan, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah.
This is a lot of fun. Sell yourself to the audience. Tell them where they can find you, what you got coming up, where, etc.
They can find me on Twitter at Evan Dickson. That's just EvanDickson. I co-edit the movies portion of BloodyDisgusting.com, where you can always go. I do some occasional freelance for other sites, and I play music as well. You can actually get all my new shit for free on Bandcamp. Just go to Bandcamp and search Hidden Speaker and put in 0 on Name Your Price, or put in more than 0. But and then I also write scripts and have been hired to write a few horror movies and stuff. So.
Nice.
Hopefully those will happen, but I can't discuss those.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
And to clarify, that is bloody-disgusting.
It is, although it will redirect.
Oh, does it redirect you?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if it was going to be the case where it's like, we're just a small florist.
Yeah, there's one
Indiana.
lemon party site, and then there's bloody. I think it redirects. I think it does.
Is that similar to a hurricane party?
No.
Lemon Party, Hurricane Party is.
Yeah.
HurricaneParty.org.
If it were similar to a hurricane party, I would be evacuating every time, probably.
Everyone would be in traffic.
Yeah.
Goddamn, I want everybody to Google Lemon Party right now, but
Please don't.
Please don't.
Yeah.
Not at work.
Whatever you do, if you're at work, don't Google Lemon Party or Meat Spin.
Nothing
don't
is
do
safe
that.
for work.
Yeah.
Don't do that while you're at work.
Yeah. Well, guys, if you want to find us on the World Wide Web, you can find us on Twitter. I am at OsteoFerocious.
There you go.
And I am at My Name is Razzle2.
You can also find the podcast on Twitter at TWL Podcast. You can email us, twlpodcast@gmail.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Today We Learned with Razzle and Dan. Or you can find us on iTunes. You can find us on Nerdist.com. You've probably already found us if you're listening to this by this point. You don't really need to be told where you downloaded this, unless you're trying to piece your life back together Memento style, in which case just look at your tattoos. The URL should be right there.
Next to the Tasmanian Devil.
Yes.
With boxing
Sweet,
gloves.
By the way, sweet Taz tat. Great choice.
Love the boxing gloves.
Taz-toos.
Awesome. And thanks again for listening. As always, feel free to share your favorite episode with your friend. Tell everybody you know about us. Give us a good review on iTunes. Give us a good rating. Leave us, tell the world about us. And we appreciate you listening. And as always,
may the Horth be with you.
Now leaving Nerdist.com.